Um, a lot of the times when I go out to Capoeira events, now that I'm pretty comfortable in my Capoeira after training it for 7 years, when there's a Q&A session with a lot of the high-level belts, which is usually called a bate-papo, if I feel comfortable and I think they might be able to answer it, I will pose the question, what made them stick around in Capoeira? Or in this case, what made them transition from this is something that I enjoy doing on the side as fitness thing or whatever, to I want to do this as a career for the rest of my life, like I want to continue teaching this. And for a lot of high-level belts, it's an incredibly personal question. Capoeira means a lot to them, but the person I asked this the first time was, since I knew him really well, he was able to answer it in a very honest way. But the other people I had to talk to this in private, and which is understandable because I asked the question in a very sort of public forum, and there was about 50-ish people there, so I guess they weren't comfortable about expressing something so personal to them in such a public format. But that got me thinking. That happened about two years ago when I asked that question, and so ever since then I was curious as to one, why would they keep it private? Which is understandable. A lot of people, they want to keep things very personal to them, very kind of closed in. But rather than do the same thing, I want to try something different. I would want to, right now, pretty much tell, at least from my perspective, why I stick around in Capoeira. It's going to get a little long, so bear with me. I would say it kind of started when I was a kid. I was about, my dad, who was a World War II veteran, he was actually very old when I was born. And then at 7 years of age, around when I was the year 1993 was when he passed away. He passed away in his sleep, and so good for him. He went away peacefully, it wasn't very violent, but it left my mother to raise my brother and I by herself. And so all that time, she actually raised us really well. I think we turned out pretty good. But you know, there's always that missing thing, that sort of missing idea that, you know, say a dad give you, that kind of motivation or that kind of you're acting like an idiot type of advice. So throughout my, childhood, my teens, my preteens, and whatnot, I kind of absorbed myself in various things. For many years, for most of it was education. For most of it was just academics. And I was often offered the chance to skip 2 or 3 grades, but I turned it down because I thought I'd be seen as like some sort of weirdo or whatever. But I was very conscious of myself around that time, and I knew that I wanted to not be so close in, not be so focused in academics. So around high school, I decided to do theater in my sophomore year. I wanted to be able to kind of open myself up again. And theater was my first sort of foray into that. I wanted to let people know that I'm just not some, bookworm. Actually I'm a person too. I have feelings. I'm not just some sort of cold person, and it was actually really beneficial to me. I made some really good friends. I got into a wonderful acting program in college because of it. And when I went to college, for that first year, it was a wonderful program. I got to meet lots of new friends. Some I still am friends with to this day and work with them in terms of film and whatnot. I got kicked out of the program, so at that time, because it was my freshman year and I was really kind of hinging on this and being my kind of support system throughout my career in college, I was kind of left just sort of tizzy, I spent the summer in San Diego with my brother, which I believe that was the summer of 2005, summer 2005. Got the chance to go to like comic book events, Comic-Con, things like that. Kind of helped me get back in touch with who I was. And that fall was when I had started the Capoeira class here at the university. Before then, I had only heard about it through summer programs, taking summer classes here on campus. And so I decided to join it just because all the other martial arts didn't really interest me. And that first year, I started training 2 times a week, just have classes. And I did some of the performances, even though I really sucked. What happens, we all start somewhere. But the people that I met, I started about 5 or 6 guys that were my age. 2 or 3 I still keep in contact with. The other ones have gone off to train or move out of state. And those guys, the ones I still keep in contact with, are people that I don't know for the rest of my life. I consider them as close as brothers to me. So that year went by, I got my first belt. There was something about capoeira that I could understand, but not explain at first. So I stuck around with it the second year. I started training 3 times a week, which was the class and then the club. And then I started to do less and less theater and more and more capoeira. So after that year, I started training 4 times a week, and then I became the president of the club here. And that was a lot of hard work to be the president for 2 years because we were in kind of like a weird sort of situation there when most of the people who were in the group were going to graduate. And so I was left to kind of figure out like why do I stick around? Like why am I doing this? Like, do I go back to acting? Do I change majors? What? But I started talking to teacher Anne. I started talking to Canto Mestre Eduardo. I started to actually do substitute teaching a bit more, and through that I was able to understand the kind of message that Capoeira was trying to get across to me, is that in very general terms, it made me happier. I was going through a tough time. College is tough. It's really stressful. It made me happier than acting did at the time. But as I learned more and more, as I started to get to my 4th year and 5th year, and I graduated, I started to realize, like, okay, I'm already doing this teaching. Do I really want to keep doing this as a career? And I realized now that it wasn't just because it made me happy. There was very few reasons that it makes anyone happy, but I realize now that a lot of the lessons that I learned in capoeira and from having Anne as a teacher have been very influential on making me develop as a person. Capoeira doesn't just keep you healthy. It doesn't doesn't just help you learn another language. It doesn't just help you develop a sense of rhythm. It's a communal thing. No matter where you are, there's a capoeira group, and it taught me that I'm not. While I may feel alone sometimes, I'm not necessarily alone. That I shouldn't take things so personally a lot of the time, and I still do that, but it's a work in progress. That I should just kind of go with the flow of things, relax, enjoy life, kind of get crazy if you want, because that's how you're gonna get the most out of life, and to realize that even though that these things are happening, or that in the Capoeira Hall, that in the game, that you still have a responsibility to keep yourself under control and to not just respect who you are, find out who you are and respect who you are, but to respect other people, find out who they are and respect their space. But I'm still looking through these lessons, still learning these, and trying to make sure that I apply them to my personal life. And it's a process, not everyone's perfect. I don't claim to be some sort of, guru or anything like that, or some guy who suddenly found some space, enlightenment or anything like that. I'm just a guy, who enjoys what he does, and what I do, what I teach. When I play capoeira, I try and get that energy across to people, and sometimes I feel it, sometimes I won't, and that's okay. People are different, but that's mainly really the reason why I keep going, is that I found that this inspiration to become better than who I am. Big thanks to Capoeira, thanks to the rest of the blog, that this whole group, Capoeira itself, has inspired me to become better than I am. I mean, I'm hard of hearing. So if I can learn how to sing and play a rhythm and do all these movements, then, you know, imagine what people who, you know, don't have these issues can do. Or even if they have more, there's still a way to do this. You know, there's always a way to do Capoeira, no matter where you are. It's just a matter if you want it. So that's kind of why I stick around. I want to make sure that the people that I teach, if they're new or, you know, been training for a while, that they understand that for me it's been kind of life-changing. Like I was introverted. I'm still kind of introverted, but I would never talk about this stuff before at all. And it's kind of nice. So rather than keep myself closed off, I want to open this up to everyone and let you know that whatever your story is, I feel you in a different way. So that's why I do Capoeira. That's why I teach. That's why I keep going. That's why I will keep doing this until something happens. And even then, I'll probably still do it.
Aprender petizaria, navegar o sabor pra fazer judiaria, botar ele na água quente, se dá quente, botar na fria, tira o couro do saco, ai ai ai, pra fazer mandingaria, ó camaradinho, viva meu Deus, yeah. Viva meu Deus, camarada, yeah, viva meu mestre, yeah, viva meu mestre, camarada, yeah, yeah, quem me ensinou, yeah, quem me ensinou, camarada, que é a capoeira, yeah, a capoeira, camarada, yeah, ora, yeah. Camarada, que vamos embora, yeah, vamos embora, camarada.
One.